Hello to all the Atlanta United fans. My name is Jurgen Damm, and you are watching Scarves and Spike, an Atlanta United podcast.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Scarves and Spikes. After a win, after 2 wins in a row, Tyler and Henry here alongside Tommy momentarily when he gets back to the house. But Henry, this is called a streak.
2's a streak, baby. It's a weird feeling given kind of the turbulent season, but I think it's great to finally have some good news. After kind of a long wait, and this not really being the season that a lot of people were expecting, us included, if you go back and look at our predictions. But it's just awesome that we get to have a positive reaction show after we just had a positive reaction show. I'm not used to this feeling.
This is true. Brian in the chat said we're going streaking. Keep it up. I don't know that anybody wants to see anybody go streaking, but hey, man, keep it up. Whatever you want. No, it is wild. Like you said, we came into this season, everybody did, with significantly higher expectations than where the team is at now. Soccer is a stupid game. It happens, right? Like you never can truly bet on a game like soccer because things go wild. I mean, and with Atlanta, look at the postseason last year. Nobody expected that. Nobody expected Atlanta to go beat Miami. So then why would you expect that Atlanta would do all this stuff in the offseason and then be just, world beaters in MLS?
It's never that easy.
It's never that easy. But this is a good set of matches. It's good signs. They've got a lot of work still to do, but it's steps in the right direction, and it's confidence building. It's something that you can look back and you can hang your hat on and say, hey, man, we did that. Work to be done, but, I mean, you got 6 points out of 2 matches. Can't do better than that.
Yeah, and again, you're still in a hole. You're still below the playoff line. You're still 12th, despite getting 2 wins in a row. And I was actually trying to look at the point totals, but I believe Atlanta is actually 5 points out of that play-in game at this point. Yes,
I think so. Yeah,
5 points out. Charlotte's in that play-in spot. Oh my gosh, Charlotte fell.
Yeah, they dropped.
Gosh,
they went.
Weren't they leading the league at one point?
They were like
they were top of the table.
They were second. They were close. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Sorry, that shocked me because I. Okay. Well, good news. You're 5 points off of that play-in spot, and you might knock rival Charlotte out of it. But yeah, you still got a lot of stuff to do, and this 6-game away stretch is it's going to be a doozy. It's not. You don't have really. I mean, I guess you could call. I don't want to call anyone easy teams right now. But yeah, any away stretch is tough, and this team still hasn't won a road game. And Ronnie mentioned it after the game that he wants to see this team go and win on the road, and that is the mark of a good team in MLS. It's one that can go away from home and be just as good. And Atlanta hasn't really historically been that over the past 5 years. They were more so during their height in 17 and 18, but haven't really been so in recent seasons. And so if they can do that, this may be something that we look at as a true turning point in the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think, momentum, we've talked about it a lot over the past week or so, but momentum is a funny thing. we said going into Cincinnati, and to be honest, expectations were very low because Cincinnati's a good team, sitting at the top of the East or very near the top of the East. You thought like, we need to win this game. Atlanta really, really needs to win this game. That 6-game road trip is looming large. It's going to be a long 6 weeks. I don't know how many people truly believed that they would pull that one off, if we're being honest.
I did.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's fair. It's fair. After an 8-game winless streak, it's fair to think like, ooh, why would you go beat the number 1 or number 2 team in the East? Like, right? Like, we just got done talking about it. You don't bet on MLS. It happened. You did it. You did the job. Fans got involved. It was loud in that place, despite all the craziness from this season. You're playing against a really good team. You get punched in the mouth a couple times, but you pulled it off, and then you go on very short rest a couple of days later. It's kind of your last hurrah for the summer. And you had a little bit of belief, right? It's a derby match. Everybody hates Orlando. You really needed to make something happen. And they didn't make it easy on themselves, if we're being honest, right? Like, this game, it's a massive momentum builder, continuing on the momentum theme. But they didn't exactly make it easy on themselves. So Orlando comes out, punches them in the mouth straight off the bat. And it was to give credit to Orlando, a well-worked goal. Orlando hadn't lost a match in MLS since, I think, March 8th or the beginning of March or something like that. Been a long time.
12 games unbeaten.
Yeah. So they come out and they do exactly what you expect. And they kind of press when Atlanta did have the ball, but didn't allow Atlanta to have the ball much. And kind of press them off the Atlanta right side of the pitch, opened up a ton of space in the middle of the pitch, and Araujo, or Araujo, I'm so used to calling him Luis Araujo. He hits a banger from distance, but nobody is able to step in and pressure him. Good goal. There was a little bit of a moment where there was speculation that maybe there was some obstruction in there. I think it maybe could be argued, but I don't think it needs to be. You don't deserve for it to be argued in that situation. You got beat. But then you put your big boy pants on, you came back, right? Like you really started fighting back. The momentum started to swing your way, and that's what I wanted to see, because we talk about momentum in the game and then from game to game. They didn't roll over. They didn't put their head in the sand. They didn't just sit down and die. They really turned it back on and they made something happen. Now, they then subsequently gave up the second, and that one was bad, but that's a mental mistake. It's a silly thing that happens. I mean, if Atlanta could get rid of those kind of mistakes, we'd be having a totally different conversation. But it wasn't like the whole team just turned off. It was a silly mistake by Derek. I hate it for him, especially after the game he had against Cincinnati, but it happened. So then you go into the half. All right. And then the question is, are they going to come out of the locker room, period? But are they going to do this whole thing where they come out 15 minutes and they just don't turn it on? And I don't think they were incredible coming out of the half. I think they were better than they have been to a degree, but they grew into the half. And even before the red card, they were growing into the game. The subs made a difference. And then, of course, the red card ultimately changes the game. And if we're being fair, like the red card was a factor in this win, but you take what you were given and you run with it. They had a red card against Philly and still got whooped up in Philly. So I think overall you're seeing a little bit of a mentality shift, between these two games that you haven't really seen in this Atlanta United team over the course of the first, 16 matches of the season?
Agreed. Yeah. It does look different in that sense. And yes, the red card, like you said, it is a major factor. A red card's always going to be a major factor in any game, whether you like it or not. And Atlanta, I think my main frustration with what they were doing before the red card was that they were putting in an absurd amount of crosses. They started crossing the ball like crazy, trying to desperately kind of find a goal that way. And sometimes it works, especially if you have, I don't know, like a striker like Gigi in the box who can get there, who can do that kind of thing. Lattelat less so, but he's also been good in the air. But like the crosses, they weren't really doing much for the team at that point. And I think the red card helped not just, with the numbers advantage, but I think it also kind of reset the team's attitude a little bit. And they realized like, okay, we have a chance here to kind of go back to playing our game a little bit more, figuring this out and digging ourselves out of this one. And I think they did. Another thing was that they were very hesitant to take shots for some reason for a lot of that time period that was before the red card. And I even tweeted out, I tweeted out a super sarcastic thing. I'm like, I heard a rumor that, teams that take shots are more likely to score goals. And then Bartosz Slisz goes and freaking scores a banger.
Shades of Nashville from last year.
But that's the thing, though. The team wasn't taking the shots before that. And I think we were in the press box, and I kept telling you, especially when Miguel Almiron got the ball like at the top of the AT, and I'm like, why is he not shooting? Why is he not like trying something there? You remember him taking some of those long shots back in 2017, 2018, and they were good shots. And now he just is kind of more hesitant to kind of go for glory himself. And I don't know, it's a little bit worrying to me. And you add on to that kind of the rant I had about him and the fact that I don't think he had a particularly good game last night. I mean, no key passes, no goal, no assists, not really much of anything going on for him. It's kind of worrying, but no, credit to the team for their effort, for fighting back, because I think historically over the past few seasons they've had trouble doing that. They used to be the team kind of that would just kind of lie down after going down, and kind of not really fight back. And also kind of credit to Mateusz Klisz for, I don't want to call it like dark arts or anything, but he did have an effect a little bit in getting the red card, kind of baiting it out a little bit, getting into Cesar Araujo's head and making that moment happen. You might call that kind of quote unquote underhanded, dirty, whatever, but it's just kind of smart. I think it's just you're kind of smart in that moment.
Every team needs a guy like that. I mean, we've talked about it with a handful of guys over the years, but Atlanta hasn't consistently had that kind of guy. So I don't think it's underhanded. I mean, every team needs a crap talker. Needs a couple, really, in my opinion, but it needs, I mean, that's part of the game. The mental part of the game is a massive aspect of it, of any sport. But it's been distinctly missing from Atlanta United for a long time.
Every team needs a Jamie Tartt.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, and we'll get Tommy in here, a couple of years ago when Ozzie Alonso got the entire Charlotte team fined because he did exactly, and I see like Nick said, I love a villain. Click just giggling and laughing, getting in Orlando's head was brilliant. That's it. Like, that's what you need. Nothing irritates people more than when they are so angry and all you do is laugh in their face. You put a smile on, because it causes them to feel like they need to do something extra to get under your skin. And if you're not showing that, then they're going to continue to push until somebody goes and runs full speed and tries to grab somebody's throat and also bumps into the ref and then gets thrown out of the game. I'm sure he's also going to get fined as well, because it took him, by my count, 3.5 minutes to get off the pitch, which is
wow,
about 3 minutes and 20 seconds too long. So Yeah, that fine's probably going to be coming in hot, but it's part of the game. It really, I mean, you can't rely on, pissing somebody off and getting a red card every game.
No,
That's
of
not a
course.
tactic. But when it happens, it happens. And then like I said earlier, you've got to take advantage of it.
And it's a mental aspect too, of frustration of, that is legit. And I think, one player that I really go back to when we talk about this kind of player is Jose Martinez, who used to play for Philadelphia, is now down in Corinthians. But that was kind of him. It's kind of the jerk, I guess, to other teams, the guys that the fans really hated. And I think back then, like Tommy, when Dax was signed at first, I think you were kind of rolling your eyes because you didn't really like him either, did you?
No, I hated that guy.
I remember when we were playing FIFA that night, and you found out for the second time about the signing.
Yeah, both times I was very upset for both of them. But the Ozzy Alonso situation, it was exactly what it reminded me of. There, everybody's getting around. You could see Click was just smiling, like that evil smile, like got you. But unfortunately, Apple wasn't very good at showing us at home exactly what was going on in any of the red card situations. It was a terrible, terrible production of that entire part of that game. They couldn't show anything. It was frustrating.
And it kind of blows my mind with the first red card. I can't, because it is kind of crazy. We're actually talking about two. The first one, you saw Araujo come in like hot, and he bumped the ref. He bumped is it Philippe? I think his name is
Philip Dujic,
Okay.
Dujic, something like that.
But he came in with such force. Now he wasn't. I don't think he was going after him. He was going after Click, but he came in enough to where he bumped everybody, and part of that was the ref. And anytime you touch a ref, I mean, ask Thiago Almada, who barely laid a finger on a ref and got suspended for 3 games
after the game was over.
Yeah, exactly. The moment I saw him come in and I saw the ref kind of like recoil backwards a little bit, I was like, oh, that's going to be a red card. And then sure enough, boom. And then what was it, like 5 minutes later? I didn't see or
after the
really
Sleech goal. Yeah.
Yeah, like what it was, but he came running over, like the body language said everything, because Oscar Pareja's whole staff was like holding him back. He was yelling. I think it was at the 4th official. I don't know that it was at Dyla, but he was upset. He was pissed. He was very pissed, and it was after Slish's goal. So I don't know if somebody said a combination of some very magical words, or he was just really pissed about a call. I think he made some comments last night that it had something to do with a call. I don't know. But whatever it was, he was pissed, and his whole coaching staff was like trying to pull him back. And it was pretty intense, but hey man, if Atlanta can do more of that, giving out the okey doke and the dark arts, I'll take it all day. I'm tired of Atlanta being on the bad end of that.
I will tell you, everyone at home, I think, was wondering what the hell's going on, because you hear grab by the neck and they weren't specifically saying who or what. And then you see Click making that face, like that evil smile. I'm like, oh man, that looks like a man that just grabbed someone's neck and was very happy about it. And then everyone's going back and forth. I'm going to Twitter. I'm looking to see what you guys are putting in there. I'm like, please, just someone tell me what's going on. And then finally it was, they clarified it, but very frustrating for us at home.
Yeah, if you go back and you actually look at, I mean, you can go back and look on Apple TV, like that part of the game, and you do see, Cleach does, he pushes Araujo, right? He shoves him. Araujo comes back to kind of get back at him, but he does put his arm up to his throat. And I think in that motion, he also kind of bumps into the ref, but the ref does signal like, oh, you're getting the red because you put your hand on his throat. And so from my angle in the press box, I didn't see the hands to the throat on Cleach. I saw just him bumping into the ref, and then I saw the ref pull out the card and do this. And so I was like, did he like put hands on the ref?
Because that's what we were saying. We're like, did he just try to grab the referee by the neck? Like, that's dumb.
So I was confused. That's why I tweeted that out. But then I saw the replay, and then I saw what happened. So sorry if there was any confusion on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, friend.
There's a lot going on last night. All right.
It was a crazy game.
It's great, and the stadium sounded loud for a Wednesday. For a Wednesday game, I mean, once that went down, it was like, I wonder if they can pull this off.
Yeah.
That was the question. I quick looked. I went to FanDuel real quick to see what the odds were. It was like plus 1,100 for them to come back and win at that point of the red card. Just didn't have the guts to throw it out there.
So really quickly, for that second red card, the one that was given to Oscar Pareja, here's what I found about it. Here's what he said in the post-game presser. It was a game that we had under control for over 70 minutes, but we will follow our protocols to address the refereeing tonight. It changed the whole game for us. Games have not been easy, but it's not an excuse until the red card. Again, the frustration for us was how the game was handled by the ref. For 70 minutes, we had chances to score a couple more goals. I only asked the ref why he threw the red card since Cesar was pushed also. We will follow all the protocols to address it with the league. He must have been protesting it to the fourth official, maybe use some more colorful language than the one that he's using, like describing in that quote. Because I don't think just protesting it would get you a red card unless he's being like very, 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 insistent on it. But yeah, that happened like I think immediately after Slish scores to tie
Well,
the
no,
game.
that's what was crazy to me is if he's still arguing the Araujo red card, that was in the 77th minute. Slish scores in the 83rd minute. So now, of course, there's the red card shown, and then there's some time of just I'm not going to leave the pitch, blah blah blah. We're going to run my mouth for a little bit. But you get the game started back up. They made their defensive sub, bringing on Thorhausen. And then, let's see, Abram came out for Mosquera, and then it was right after that Slish hit the tying goal. So that whole time, you're arguing with the fourth official. Like, you're not going to change it, dude. At that point, it's done and dusted. Like you need to get back and worry about what's happening to your team now. Like that. I mean, I get being pissed. I totally get that. But at some point, you just got to take a step back and be like, man, what's done is done. Let's go figure out this game and try to get out of here with something. So yeah, then he gets sent off. And I mean, you look, when a ref gets sent off, it doesn't change much of the match. It's really the player getting sent off. But I think it showed Orlando's overall kind of emotions at that point. I think everybody Atlanta got under Orlando's skin in the best way possible. And in a derby match, especially, like that's what you want. That's exactly the kind of vibe that you've got to go into. I mean, I would say every game because you do need to have that kind of edge and attitude, but especially playing a team like Orlando that you hate and they hate you.
Chiari is the best striker we have signed since Joseph. Don't at me. Fubo Torres would disagree. Stupid Adam John. I agree. He sucks.
He's got
We're
the
getting
clutch.
there. Well, that's it. I mean, I think it might have been Zilf that posted on Twitter yesterday. Like, I mean, or maybe it's James that was just like, this guy is the second best because he has scored probably the most memorable goals besides Joseph Martinez in the history of this team, and it keeps adding up on cool things that this guy does.
That is true.
If only that guy could stay healthy. If only he could not be concussed. If his leg doesn't fall apart, like all these little things that keep happening to him. If he could stay healthy, man, I mean, that's huge.
Knock on wood. But he's been cleaner. Yeah, I was gonna say it was James. James, I think, because he named out all six of them of the very because he's had more than six, but the very memorable ones. But Jamal Tiare, like, and I kind of said it earlier in the week, but he has been so much crisper as a player. His first touch has been better. He's still running around like a madman, throwing his body at things, but it's maybe not as reckless to the point where he's getting injured every game. But I mean, you take a guy that he did well last year. I mean, I always remember us sitting in the Signia at the show watching the New York City game, and he scored the tying goal to pull a draw last year. It's just moments like that where he has that clutch gene, but that continued all the way through the season and continued in the playoffs. And then, this year he's gotten maybe rid of some of the bad habits, and it does help. He is a sub. Jamal Tiare, as it stands right now, in my opinion, Zilf. Jamal Tiare is the definition of what you want out of a super sub. I don't think he does half of what he has done as a starter in general. I think he's one of those guys that feasts on tired legs. And
That Miami game, that Miami series.
Yeah.
Scored a brace in game 3.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another big clutch moment there. We got to get this guy in more clutch situations. That's the thing. You got to stop being mediocre and get him ready for the clutch team. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think there's a point there, and maybe he is better off the bench and just in those situations. I mean, he has 3 goals in his last 4 games, and that's a pretty decent return for him so far. And he's managed to stay healthy for a decent part of this season. I mean, he did have that hamstring injury early in the season, but since then he's been healthy. So, yeah, I think you're not going to sit Latte Lot for him. I don't think that's happening, even though currently Tiare is in better, I guess, form, you could say, but there is a substitute effect to that. That's something that you have to keep in mind, is that, yeah, you are going up against tired legs later in the game. When you get subbed on, you are in different situations. Game state is different. So those are other factors to keep in mind. And it's not to say that, he's not as good as he looks, but maybe this is his best role, kind of.
Yeah. And I think, really quick, one thing that gets kind of thrown out there in like an apples to apples situation, and it's not, it's an apples to oranges situation, is you look at Latte Loth starting, and we'll throw Miggy into this conversation as well. And I mean, the numbers have to be there. We said the same thing about Alexi, right? But he's got 4 assists and a goal in 2 games. So the numbers, there's DP numbers if I've ever seen them. So he's really growing into his own, growing confidence, and I love to see it. But there is something to be said about 2 guys like Latte Loth and Miggy going out and just giving defenders the business for 70 minutes and then bringing on a guy like Jamal Tiare, because it's not like a Giakoumakis who he wasn't going to go nonstop the entire game. Latte Loth, for at least the numbers, as ineffective as he's been in the past few matches, he's still moving. He's still mobile. He's all over the place. And you can't afford to just not keep an eye on him. You can't afford to stay on top of him, because if you do, I mean, at one point last night, we were saying it in the press box, he literally had 5 guys around him. You can't afford to give him space, because he's shown that he can at least make something happen out of not much. But if he's, giving defenders all kinds of problems, even if he's not scoring goals, Miggy the same way, that tires out center backs immensely. And then it makes it a lot easier for a guy like Tiare or at Mosquera, whoever, to come in and kind of finish him off.
We are going to have that serious conversation about Latte Loth here.
I see the torch has been passed from Alexi. Now we got to move it on to Latte Loth.
Well, I think it's been with Miguel Almiron. It's been with Latte Loth. I mean, look, when you go through the streak that you did for that extended period of time, you question everybody. And I think that's what's, and I think listening to you guys talk earlier in the week about Miguel Almiron, it was like it's just kind of moves on to different conversations. And unfortunately, there really hadn't been a player besides, I mean, even Brad Guzan, who'd been pretty consistent earlier in the year, made some pretty sloppy non-saves in the game against Cincinnati, things he should have saved there. So everybody, when we go through this, has to have you have to have a conversation about. But Latte Loth right now, I mean, it's not only in our fan base, it's everyone else, and unfortunately, it's because of the money tied to him and the being anointed as the highest transfer player in MLS. Like that's just what's going to happen, and it's happened with everyone else. Pity Martinez coming in, it was the conversation with him. Jurgen Damm, conversation with him. Sorry, I had to throw his name in there once. But like all these big name players, and Miguel Almiron is the other one as well. And I know Zoe put bench Miggy, and I'm shocked that Tyler's still able to smile after seeing that comment there. But I mean, these are all conversations here because you're seeing Saba starting to come in, and I am so happy that he's starting back-to-back games with an assist. Fantastic for him. Alexei Marinchuk now has 3 assists and a goal in the last 2 games. Awesome. Now, what are we going to do with Miguel Almiron? What are we going to do with Latte Loth? How are they going to get involved, specifically on the road? Latte Loth already has a goal on the road in Cincinnati, so you hope that he's going to be able to continue being able to perform on the road there. Okay, this is the grossest comment I think I've seen in Scarves and Spikes history. I
So
don't think
go to
that,
bed.
I think there's comments, and then there's this comment about bench Mickey to start Mascara. That's
No.
something that, but I mean,
That's one I won't agree with.
But yeah, you absolutely need to figure out how to get these two going because you've got Saba going, which is great. And then it also is going to start creating the other conversation with Saba and Lennon. We'll have that conversation when Brooks is available. But still, you've got 2 of your big guys because I think there's 4. I think there's the big 4 with this team. I think it's Saba, I think it's Alexi, and then Miggy, and then Latte Loth. I think those are your big 4. I don't know if people consider Saba in the big
A
4
lot of
there
people
or
do.
big 3, but I
Slam,
think he's
Llamas.
been our best player for 2 years. I've been saying that forever.
Yeah, and I think the more interesting thing is going to be kind of the short term of, okay, you're going to go play the Red Bulls on Saturday. How much rotation is going to be in that lineup? Because ideally you want to put your best foot forward, especially for an away game. But a lot of these players have played close to 120 minutes or 120 minutes already this week. And, yes, you're going to want them. You're going to want to put your best foot forward. At the same time, maybe you're going to risk some of these guys getting, some type of injury because of they're exhausted, overexertion, that kind of thing. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and say I would say if I were in charge of the lineup card, I would bench Miggy for this next game against Red Bulls. Let him rest because he's played 110 minutes this week already, and that's not including stoppage time. I would say bench
I'm
him
trying to figure out your math. You keep saying 110.
90. No, it's sorry, I can't do math.
College graduate.
I'm exhausted. 170 minutes. I was like,
All right, I got you
subtract
now. We're back
10
on the
from
same page.
the 90, and then it just didn't work in my brain. 170 minutes. Sorry. Give him a rest, and then probably, I don't know. We just talked about Tiare being better as a super sub, but maybe you do give him the start in this game, and then you bring Miggy on in the second half against the tired Red Bulls defense. And then at that point, he still can have a little bit of pace going in behind back lines. Maybe he will be more effective against a tired back line at that point.
Look, we keep talking about because we're going to kind of jump back and forth between Orlando and Red Bulls. I actually think this away game, if you were going to play 3 matches in a week, which is what Atlanta's doing, the way that it's played out so far has been perfect because, and I saw, we were talking about it in Discord earlier, but Brian made the comment, playing Red Bulls, give them the ball. Give them the ball. They don't like the ball. They are a team that wants to press high, win it, in essentially your defensive third, their attacking third, so they don't have to do all the hard work and then go and try to snag one easily. but when you let them have the ball, they are not great. I mean, we talked about it on MLS Monday. 5 of their last matches, and I didn't look at yesterday's, but 4 of those 5 they had on the ones that they had more possession, they didn't get a result in, or they didn't get a win in. When they have the ball, they don't like it. They don't know what to do with it. It fits perfectly for Atlanta because even with guys that you're going to have to rest, and I agree, I think Miggy should start on the bench. I think he should come in later. You need to kind of sit back. You need to bend, obviously not break. Let them run themselves ragged. Don't fall into their trap of essentially running you ragged more than you already are, and give them the ball. You get into the half 0-0. Hey man, that's solid. Then in that second half, you bring on, whether it's Tiare or maybe you rest Latte Lath in the beginning and then you bring on him later. Bring on Miggy, bring on Mosquera if he didn't start. Luke Brennan is another one. Like, you have guys here that that Red Bulls is going to press. At that point, then you start playing over the top of them into space behind and let your guys go do their thing. I think this fits Atlanta going to Red Bull Arena and getting a win for the first time, despite the 3-game week that they've had.
Okay. The happy juice is flowing
Maybe
good
too
with
much
you.
common sense here. So, and it is MLS, but I like it.
I mean, that'd be awesome. I mean, going back to, I didn't pull up the sheet we were talking about on Spaces. Remember, Ronnie D had a very long streak that was very similar to what Atlanta United just went through in New York. Now, that was more towards the mid third or fourth quarter of the season, and all of a sudden the team started scoring. He figured things out, and it was projected to MLS Cup. You went all the way up to there, and you win it. I preface it with, I'm not saying they're going to win MLS Cup, but they figured things out. Goals started coming, and wins started coming. Well, is this it? Is this the time where they've figured it out and they can get results? And like, look, if you go and you get a draw at Red Bull Arena, especially after playing a Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, 3 games in that short time span, I'm happy. I'm absolutely happy there. But like you said, Tyler, they have to play smart. They can't. It's hard to play the Red Bulls in general. To play the Red Bulls on short rest. Now, granted, the Red Bulls are also going to be on short rest, so that's a little bit. You're both in the same boat, but we'll see. I mean, it would be a huge, huge excitement for this road trip because we've been dreading this.
Yeah.
We said these 3 games at home were obviously big. Get what you can out of it, and you'll be fine. After that, what the hell happens? What happens on the road with this team? Does it just go back to complete monstrosity on the road? Can they figure it out? Well, you've got 2 teams that Ronnie D knows a lot about. The New Yorks. That's what I said. Pull the tape. The dog agrees. But pull the tape. But yeah, I mean, he knows these 2 teams, and I'm really excited to see how is the game at Yankee Stadium?
No, this is Red Bull. Oh,
No, I'm sorry.
It's at Red Bull
The
Arena.
other New York game after that.
I think it should be. Let me double
they keep
check.
flip-flopping between that and Citi Field. I mean, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's pretty.
It will be at Yankee. Yeah.
I feel like I'm on gummies whenever I watch a game that's in
Yep.
on there, because like you're just trying to figure out where everything is. Stop it. Stop trying to get me to shave my beard. I can't do that at the moment.
Not your beard, your whole
my
head.
Oh no. No, my buddy shaved his head for a bet a long time ago, and it never grew back. So like that's my fear. So that he's bald now. I can't pull that off. Man, Ariel, I can tell you 100 things to do better with that $100 than that, but okay, all right, do it.
He changed up so
Flip-flop.
fast.
Yeah, go for it.
So this is kind of what I was talking about. You know, we go back to the most recent. This was Charlotte Red Bulls. This was up in New Jersey, not New York. Look at Charlotte's possession. The grand 60%, 60-40. It's classic. And look at what Red Bulls do with the ball in the moments that they have it. Like, they make something out of nothing. You talk about Ronnie and him knowing New York and knowing New Jersey. Oh, sorry, Red Bulls. Everybody knows what the freaking Red Bulls are going to do. It's not like it's a surprise. It doesn't matter what coach is there. In some way, shape, form, or fashion, you're going to have a team that's going to press you really, really hard and run a lot and be annoying. It doesn't change. Don't play their game. That's all you've got to do. Don't play their game. Rufus the Mole Rat. Man, that's a classic. What was that? Was that Kim Possible?
I don't know that reference at all.
I think it was Kim Possible. Yeah, Bruno, I'm trying to do my thing here. It's not hard, man. Let them have the ball. Play over the top. Get your guys running vertically. You're going to catch them at some point. You will. Look at the times, like going back, what was it, a couple of years ago when Atlanta had their draw 2-2 up there. I mean, Joseph, it was like a vintage Joseph goal, ball over the top. He pokes it in, around the goalkeeper. Like, it's just those moments. They're going to press so hard that at some point you're going to have literally Atlanta's dream of acres of space behind the center backs. Don't try to play through them. You're not going to. You struggled against Orlando trying to play through them. You're tired. You don't need to play that game. Play over the top. Be ugly. Go get the ugly win.
Sit back and it's fine. I mean, I've said it before. I think Atlanta plays better in transition, in counterattacks anyways. And so, yeah, just set yourself up and prioritize kind of your solidity at the back. And then when you get chances to go forward quickly and release, Latte Lat. He can do some damage if he has that space. And again, we've criticized him a little bit here on this show already. And we're talking about a guy who missed a really, really good opportunity against Cincinnati, but there's always a chance for him to get back. And Ronnie has said before, like, he trusts that he is going to get back into form and that he is going to, bounce back from that. And we already know that, I think to me, he's already shown that he can be, a really good striker in this league. Eric Lopez going to Libertadores. There you go. Atlanta United legend.
This is a sign.
but yeah,
U22.
do that.
The OG.
Hit pass. Oh gosh, have nightmares with those U22 slots. Also, by the way, you know what you mentioned the last game at Red Bull Arena. What that reminded me of, the Edwin Mosquera banger
that they went in blue moments later. But yes, that was a banger.
Yeah, but it was good for a solid 2 minutes.
I think we were doing a watch along for that one, weren't we? I think. I don't know.
Were we?
I distinctly remember freaking out when it happened. I thought I was in the company of other people freaking out, but I might not have. So
I don't remember. How do we get Stella to Red Bull Arena?
Dude, we're gonna have a $50 Stella tier on Patreon, I guess, at this point. I don't know what else. Like, the amount of I've had people messaging me being like, no, you have to go. Like, she's got to be at all the games. I'm like, it's not really realistic, guys. I would love to travel and go to every game and cover it.
It's not in the budget.
You betting the lottery tonight?
Should I?
So real quick, because I wasn't sure if it was my gummy that's been in me for about an hour or my ears.
I said the U22
Bruno,
slots,
I agree with
dude.
you. I did think he said 2022.
God damn it.
Finally,
But
I am not the one that has to
Stop
say
trying
it.
to-
Someone else.
My voice is still trying to recover here.
There's plenty
We're
of
fine. We're
slots
fine.
in
We're
Las
making it.
Vegas.
We're making it.
If you get that reference,
I was just in Vegas like 2
it was a
weeks
Beavis
ago.
and Butthead quote. Beavis thinks he says what you actually said, because we know that's what you said. But the old lady's like, "There's plenty of slots in Las Vegas," and he took it the way he took it the other way.
Uh-huh.
We haven't even made it to 8 o'clock yet.
Sure thing, Tommy. We're already off topic.
See, this is the thing. We have a Philly fan in here. Appreciate Michael, by the way, you popping in all the time. It's awesome, and everybody
The pink
Philly.
cows.
saying, "Hey, y'all can go beat this team." Don't overthink it.
Love to. We just never won in Red Bull Arena.
Can't overthink this game. And I saw, I think it was Zilf going back a little bit, the midfield in this game. And I mean, like, let's just talk about the midfield in general. You can't expect Jay and or Slish to give you much time, if any. Like, it's one thing for a striker, right, who's maybe not covering as much ground, or a defender, but a midfielder, yeah, I mean, forget it. Miyamba's not going to be there. You're gonna have to figure it out. Is it Click, and some other combination? The amount of rotation that's going to have to happen in this game is going to be wild. Do you go and make any other wholesale changes though?
I wouldn't. I would try to keep it as close to what it's been as you can. It's hard for me to say give Moranchuk a rest because the game that he's just had and his form has really improved ever since he's been put in this spot on that midfield three. But he's played 180 minutes this week already. Now, granted, he isn't necessarily doing the sprints that Lattelat and Miggy Almiron are doing necessarily. But, I mean, that's still going to take a toll on you. And my thing also is, how many midfielders do you have that can realistically replace? I mean, yes, Riley, absolutely. Riley was when he's been given his chances,
He
he's
fits
been
a
great.
Red Bull type game, a
But-
physical, getting someone's way, maybe knock them over, maybe do a little trippy trip, whatever you want.
So would you if we're looking at this midfield, then you swaps Riley in for Slish and then Cleach in for Fortune? Because we don't know if Miyamba's going to be available.
I mean, he's got a ligament injury. I doubt very seriously he's going to be anywhere close to being available. But I mean,
And you don't hurry him. You don't hurry him back either.
Yeah.
Look what happened with Brooks Lennon. The one time they rush a guy to come back, and what happens? Immediate injury. He re-injures himself.
But also, like, it's not broke, right? So you don't need to fix it now. Not to get off on the right back / right winger topic, but I mean, if you could, Saba defensively had a pretty rough game last night. It was not as good as it was against Cincy, but I mean, in the attack, he's giving you something great, right? I mean, this the way he runs, he makes those incursions into the box. His little, okey doke, steppy step, dribbly boy thing that he does. That's got him a couple of assists over the past couple of matches. I mean, it's hard to say take him out. Of course, Saba is one guy that you can count on to run nonstop. So as far as like fitness levels, I mean, I think he can probably give you a decent shift, but he can't play the whole game on Saturday. So, but going back to the midfield, I mean, this is not a game, like I said, if I'm keeping in line with my tactics on my tactics board, getting paid no money to look at the way that I see this game playing out, I don't think that you need to have the speed that you would normally want to have out of your midfield, because I'm not saying park the bus, but I am saying you don't need to be forcing things that you don't need to force, because that's how the mistakes happen and that's how you get punished by Red Bulls. So it's more about controlling the game. It's more about, being careful and picking your passes very, very methodically. And I think you can get that out of Will Riley. Will Riley would be the more mobile one out of the two, but then you allow Click to play in some of the passes he's been playing lately, and that's who you want. Him and Alexi trying to hit whoever it is up top that's making those runs.
Can I call a timeout real quick?
Let's go.
I got to go in 10 minutes anyways. But Lockville was on Spaces, and he was talking about how MLS announcers pronounce names. And why is it with Tiare, it's Chiare? Have you noticed that?
So
If
I've
you can
seen
help with
people-
this.
I've seen people make fun of this. So when Jamal Tiare first got here, he told us it is, and this was when he was like barely speaking any English, but he said it's like a CH sound. But where some people get a little confused is they say chare, like charo beans. That's not what it is. It's there's an I in there still. So it's like Jamal Chare, not TRA and not Chare. There's a little bit of a mixture there. And
Okay.
then, I mean, you can listen to the pronunciation guide from Atlanta too in MLS. I mean, it's Chare.
That was how we ended Spaces last night. So I figured give that a shout.
And they also mess up Moranchuk. How do they say Moranchuk? Is it Moranchuk or Moranchuk?
Or Miranchuk.
Or Miranchuk? There's like 100 ways to pronounce it, and then there's like 50 ways to spell his first name.
Could just say Chucks.
Chucks.
I like Chucks.
I like that. Chucky.
I don't know. But then I get shades of Chucky Lozano, and I don't want that. I like Chucks. By the way, his shirts, so this time it was a Metallica shirt and a Balenciaga hoodie. After Cincinnati, it was Bone Thugs and Harmony. So his shirt game has been on point lately.
Oh, and he had a Braves hat.
He did have a Braves hat. I was highly impressed. So whatever he's doing, he needs to keep doing it because his confidence has been off the charts the past couple of matches. And I'll take that all day. The amount of numbers he's put up in the past couple of matches, and we said it on takeaways last night, but going back to Philly, I said it after that and it got cooked on the internet. I said this was one of Alexi Miranchuk's best games. And people were like, well, that's not saying much, average, blah, blah, blah. And it's fair. I mean, they still lost. But I thought there were things to build on, and they built on it in Cincinnati, and he had, numbers there, and then he really built on it against Orlando last night. Like, this is what you want out of a designated player who has been struggling with confidence. And if this is what you can expect out of him, and I do think playing this formation helps him. If you look at everything about the way that he plays in this kind of 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, depending on which way we, decide to show it. It looks very similar to all the times he's been successful in various leagues, whether it was in Russia or in Italy. He just kind of thrives in that spot, but he's playing more confident. He's getting higher up the pitch. He's getting into the box. So yeah, now if you can just, like we were talking earlier, if you can unlock him working with Miggy and Latte Lath, man, sky's the limit for this team.
Word.
You okay there, Henry?
Yeah, sorry. Had a bit of an off-screen issue.
Are you dying?
Nah, not yet.
That's good.
Everybody's just slowly dying, technically.
Well, after last night,
thanks for the philosophy lesson, Tyler.
We're never gonna die after you watch that last game. It felt like it. It absolutely felt like that. Was like you have to enjoy. You have to enjoy the moments from there. My mom actually, while I was on my way, she asked me how the team was doing. I'm like, we're starting franchise history, and she goes, "Well, the Cleveland Browns didn't win a game all season, so there's no way we could get worse. So just think of it that way." I was like, "Yeah, that's a pretty good point."
That is true. That is very true. But it would be MLS purely for everybody to be saying what they've said about Atlanta, us included, all Atlanta United media included, for them to then turn it around and go, on a freaking run from here because that's just the way it is.
You see
Did you
that Taylor
talk about Taylor
Twellman?
Twellman? Jinx.
Screw you, Tommy.
That's amazing that we both thought of that immediately. Did you talk about the water tank and the Speedos? Did I miss
Just go
that?
ahead. Go ahead. No, you sell it.
Okay.
Bring
Well,
it up.
I mean, Taylor Twellman brought up on the 360 show that if Atlanta United made the playoffs this season, he would do a duck tank with in a Speedo. That's how much he does not believe in Atlanta United right now. And we've been trying to get Taylor on the show because people asked us that last week, Tyler, when you were out. Like, where's Taylor? We've been trying. He talks enough trash, and I'm not saying it's not warranted, but if you talk enough trash, come on, Scarves and Spikes.
He's due for his annual visit for sure.
Talk to the chat because the chat will be live.
I was trying to find the post about it, but yeah, for everybody that didn't
I
see it-
retweeted it.
Okay, it's not showing up for me. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm personally not a big fan of seeing this man in a Speedo, but
Why, you've seen it before?
no.
That's what you made it sound like.
How did you
so-
get there?
Because you said you're not a big fan of seeing him in a speed.
I said, yeah,
So
of course.
I
That's the
figured
whole
you've
So it
point.
already,
sounds like
you've
you-
already
you-
given a review on Google about it.
Yeah.
No.
It's like 1 out of 5 I wouldn't recommend.
Well, there you go. 1 out of 5, I wouldn't recommend. 0 out of 5.
See,
No
but
stars.
that implies
This
that
was
you
last
have
night.
prior
This is-
experience.
It was, yeah, it was after those last 2 wins. I don't know. Do y'all think that Atlanta makes the playoffs?
I mean, I think Atlanta's been really good about kind of smashing expectations and saying screw you to probabilities, especially after, the playoff run that they did last season. I mean, first of all, making it into the playoffs, and then the run that they did to knock out Inter Miami. I mean, all that went against probabilities. So I think it's don't count them out at all. And especially not right now. Like, I think it's shocking that we're talking about this right now in the middle of a 2-game win streak. Let things play out a little bit. The fact that Atlanta is, if this really is the season turnaround in quotes, and I'm not saying that it is quite yet, but if it ends up being that season turnaround, it's coming much sooner than it has before. It's coming before the transfer window, mind you. So just something to chew on, because usually when this turnaround comes around for Atlanta United, it's like August, September. It's later in the season, and there's like 7 games left, and there's not much to be done about it. I mean, if this is where the turnaround starts, and I really hope it does, that this is going to be sustainable going forward, then I really wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt Atlanta United at this point. I believe that they will make the playoffs. Let's put it that way.
You can't completely fall apart on the road in this road, the trip from hell. You've got a lot of hard games to start it, and then after that, you've got DC and New England,
Toronto.
Those are 2 games where I think you have to get you got to get some wins, which would obviously be very important there. And then what can you do with the rest of the games? What can you do? What can you do against the New Yorks, the Columbus, Miami? Like, these are some teams that they have some weaknesses right now. I know Columbus has had some injuries here. We'll see where they go into, but you're not facing unstoppable teams here. While they're higher on the table, they do have some weaknesses. We have some weaknesses, but you got to be able to pull out some points on the road. Ask me that question. Ask me about the playoffs when they come back at home versus the midweek game against Chicago. That's really what we should look at. And we've already been talking about it as we get closer to the break here for this team. We're going to go back and look at what our predictions were to start the season where we were, and we were drunk on Miggy Love and Latte Loft Love when we did that. So just preface it with that, because we will go back and look at where we are. Don't look at our Instagram page and see what we predicted. Just don't do it. But we're gonna look at that, and then we're gonna reevaluate where we think who's gonna win MLS Cup, where is Atlanta United going to finish. I mean, it's a perfect time to look at everything, because we're pretty much at the halfway mark. Is that correct?
Yeah.
After this next game, it'll be the halfway mark. Game 17 of a 34-game season.
Time flies when you're having mediocre fun.
I just don't want it to be enough to give everybody hope and then pull it away again. You know, Dyla talked last night about how much more everybody on this team has to offer. I mean, he used Slish as an example, who, by the way, along with Alexi, made team of the week. So congrats to them. And also Slish is up for goal of the week against some dude named Messi. And if we're being completely objective here and honest, Slish's goal is a banger, and it's over Messi's for sure. Atlanta's never had competition for those goal of the week contenders until Messi got here. You got an uphill battle. I checked it like a couple hours ago, and it was Messi by like, I don't know, 10%. It was closer than it probably should have been, actually, though, which was nice, but it's tough.
Yeah,
anyway.
you got the Europe people that are
yeah.
Oh, I gotta vote for it. Yeah, real quick, because I gotta go. I was at Hibachi on Saturday or Friday, whatever it was. We're at right there, and I had an Atlanta United like track jacket on. The guy goes, "Why Atlanta United?" And it's like, "Oh, well," I explained to him all that, and he's a Newcastle fan. So I'm thinking he's gonna talk up Miguel Almiron. Like, yeah, you gave us money back for this guy. Like, just totally trashing everything of MLS, Miguel. And I'm like, man, I can't stand Euro snobs. I can't handle it at all.
They do suck. They're the snobbiest bunch of people I've ever met.
Like, you're never gonna change their mind. Like, Tina was like, "Why aren't you arguing with this guy?" I'm like, there's just no point. But he was legit. He had a Newcastle tattoo there. He was legit. That was cool,
Yeah.
I guess.
I ran into one in the off season, and I forget what team it was. But it was one of the teams that had recently been relegated from the Premier League. And but they were a boomerang team, you know, they go back and forth. And he was talking to the bartender about this club, and he was from England. And he starts going on about like how, you know, he's such a fan of the club, he loves his club, blah blah blah. And I mentioned MLS, I mentioned Atlanta United, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you know, if MLS could just take things seriously, then they'd be a much better league." And then starts to dog the league as a whole. And I'm like, the league's not perfect, but you're saying this from a team that can't figure out what league they even want to be in. It's so irritating. But whatever. Screw you, guy.
Yeah. Stuck it. All right. I got to run.
Have fun.
You guys have a magical night and enjoy Saturday. I will not be around on Saturday. So good luck. Hopefully 3 points. I'll give my prediction.
Yes.
I'm going to say it's a 1-1 draw.
Okay.
Cool.
It's fair.
Like I said earlier, I think a draw is a good result here, especially after you got back-to-back wins. Because I wouldn't say that if you didn't get 6 points out of your last 2 games. But I think a draw in this situation is great. Move on then to New York, where Ronnie knows that pitch, a very, very tiny pitch. Ronnie Big D and the little pitch. And that is how I'm going to leave this. You could order it on paper. You could order that show on pay-per-view if you'd like. If not, whatever.
It's part of that other tier.
It's a big tier. See you guys.
See you, buddy.
Bye, Tommy. Well, what an exit.
What an exit. I was kind of hoping he would do well, you wouldn't know this reference, I don't think. The Generation X suck it thing when he said that and then leave. That would have been perfect, but he didn't. So he missed his opportunity.
I'm not Generation X. I'm Gen Z, bro.
I know that wasn't
I'm the
even
Gen Z intern.
totally. It's okay.
Right.
But no. So Slish, kind of get back to that point. Slish, makes team of the week with Alexi. But Dalla had a lot of things to say about Slish last night and essentially said, like, for everything that you saw out of him and all the good that you've seen, he has a lot more to show, which is a big deal, coming from your coach who is stepping up and saying, like, I see his ceiling and he's not anywhere close to it yet, but he's getting there. And if you can expect that out of a midfielder that Garth said he was so excited to sign, for quote unquote long term, in soccer terms, it was long term. You start getting a lot more out of him, that's gonna be a big deal. That is gonna be a massive deal. But I don't know. I mean, what do you think going forward from here? Is it going to be kind of a forced some version of Slish, Jay, and Click with Muyumba sprinkled in when he gets healed up?
Are you talking about
Just the midfield in general, how the pairings kind of go?
I think they should just continue setting up the way that they have been with the Slish Slish single pivot, and then Jay Fortune and Alexei Moranchuk flanking him. I think it's worked very well. I think it's given Alexei a lot more it's forced him to operate a lot more in the half space, and he's kind of more effective there because he finds pockets of space from where he has options. Because you have Saba running down this side, he can ping it to him, from which he can then overlap and play across, or he can ping it inside to Miguel Miron, or he can ping it back to Slish and find another avenue. He suddenly you put him in a spot where he can really connect the team in a very, very useful way. And he also has his long passing. And I think the best example of that was his secondary assist to Tiare's goal. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lob through ball for Saba, and then he passes over to Tiare. But that lob through ball, that is not an easy pass.
Yeah.
That is a talented pass. That's a pass that takes know-how, and I'm glad that he did it, and I hope he continues doing it because that is awesome. But going back to the rest of that midfield in general, I see it kind of being mostly the same, and Slish again. Going back to what you said about Ronny Deila saying that, this isn't anywhere near his best, I think that means a lot for Deila to show this much confidence in him. I think it's huge, and it ups a little bit the pressure on Slish a bit. I think it just kind of pushes the bar a little bit more. And I think of this, what's a coach's primary job? Well, it's first of all to put the players in the best position that you can, but also to get the best out of these players that you possibly can. And I think kind of expecting more out of them each and every game and encouraging them and telling them, yes, I trust you. I know your abilities. I believe in you. I know that you can deliver this. I think that is a message that will help you achieve that in the long term. And Slish is a very motivated, very determined guy. You see that pretty much in the way he acts whenever he's around us, whenever he's on the field, whenever, he's forced to talk to media. He kind of shows this determination. So I think, it's a big deal that Ronny Deila is doing this. And I hope that he continues. And I know he's doing it with other players as well, but it matters. It matters that he's doing that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and you kind of mentioned it. I mean, he's called out in a good way a handful of players for their leadership and for things that he's seeing that maybe don't stick out as much to fans at first glance. But you talk about how his kind of gestures and his reaction to the foul that he made yesterday, where he ended up with the yellow card. It's passion. I mean, and Slish has this really funny way of showing his anger. Like, where, I mean, he kind of does this, like, this gesture. And if you didn't know better, you would think, well, that was kind of inappropriate. Talking about the Degeneration X thing we just did, where he like points downward and he's pointing at the ground. He's really just throwing his hands out, but he's like, what is this? But the way he does it is just, it's very distinctly Slish. But he gets so frustrated and he gets so passionate about things. And I mean, he completely obliterated, I forget what Orlando player it was, and kept going, got up and made this gesture of frustration. But he kind of got brought up in the press conference last night to a degree of where he just, that's him kind of coming out of his shell a little bit. And I think you're seeing a lot of these players maybe starting to come out of their shell. And Dallas said, he said, come out of their skin was his words last night. But he's been pushing for that all season. Derek is another one. Derek, he is asked and begged to be louder on the pitch, to communicate and everything else. And Derek, he's grown into it. I mean, you look at some of these videos popping up from social media, and Derek is the one addressing the team in the locker room in the beginning. That's good to see. You need more of it. You need that passion to be shown. You need Click getting under people's skin and getting everybody pissed off. You need Slish at 25 or whatever he is now, with significant time left on his contract. I think somebody said it in the chat a minute ago. He could become a legitimate captain for this team. And that's the position you want your captain in, dictating the entire match. I've said that for the longest time. Like, you can have a captain anywhere, and the captain doesn't need to wear the armband, but the best place for your main guy that everybody's going to be listening to is right there in the center rear, number 6, number 8 position on the pitch. So I like what I've seen out of Slish. Congratulations to him and his family. Obviously, that he had the announcement the other day, having a child, but maybe some of that's a factor in it as well. A little bit more confidence, a little bit more desire to go out and show that he has everything it takes to continue on the trajectory that he had on his career before he got to Atlanta. Because I mean, this guy won 4 trophies in a row before he came to Atlanta. He is a sore loser, and I mean that in the best way possible. He hates losing, hates it. So I love seeing him kind of grow, come into his own. Alexi's another one. If you can continue that forward, you go up to I said Red Bull Arena earlier, Sports Illustrated Stadium. You've got a.
I've been calling it that too.
I know.
I forgot that it changed name. That's so stupid.
It's really weird. But you've got an opportunity, and then from there you can really start to build on a lot of stuff.
Tyler, do you know when? If you check my Twitter and you know the answer, I'm going to be sad. But do you know when the last time was that Atlanta United got a 3-match winning streak in MLS play? Okay, yeah, go ahead. Think about it.
Like not including playoffs?
Yeah, not including playoffs, because that was literally last season.
Okay, so I know it didn't happen last season, and it didn't happen in 2023. I don't think. I think you had a couple of 2 matches. 2022 was a freaking crap show because of the injury, so it had to be maybe 2021?
2021, September 2021.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a while, but
crazy.
Again, like, this is, the Red Bulls aren't a pushover team, even though they are kind of mid-table right now. I think it says a lot if you go out and win this game, and you kind of take the curse of Red Bull Arena / Sports Illustrated Stadium off of your back a little bit. You go, you win a road game for the first time this season. You get that 3-game win streak. I think, the momentum you build from that can be a very powerful tool to get you through the rest of this road stretch. I mean, if you look at it with new eyes, and it's funny because it's like I was super pessimistic about this going in, but I look at it again, it's like you got the 2 New York teams. You've already beaten one of them this season. You held the other one scoreless at home, right? Columbus is a team that I cannot remember the last time that Atlanta actually won at Lower.com Field. I don't even think they have won at Lower.com Field. But
yeah, I don't think so.
Columbus, they are going through a bit of a rough patch at the moment. Inter Miami is a team that, you beat away last season, and you beat away in the playoffs and the regular season twice. So it's possible. And they, again, they're going to be in the middle of their Club World Cup. Well, they'll probably be out by that point, but they'll be in the middle of that, going through that tournament. And I don't know how, spent the roster is going to be, to say, like, they'll have to kind of, what do you call? They'll have to rotate.
I mean, yeah, it's
They'll
going to be
have to
heavily
figure out
rotated
a
because
way to
that's
do that.
right at the bunch of games for the Club World Cup.
And then once you're done with that game, DC, Toronto, I mean, I think you can make it out of that, honestly. I mean, and Zilf is saying, like, all these teams are beatable besides the Crew. I would argue that maybe the Crew is beatable unless they, if this is real, if this turnaround is real. Again, we don't know.
It's the Crew, so it's tough. But
the Crew is tough, but they are also, they're going through a patch right now. And, I don't know if it's going to last long enough for Atlanta to take advantage of it. And I think their next game is Inter Miami.
There's a 5-game winless streak for the Crew right now.
Yeah. And so that's the thing, right? They're on that kind of streak. I mean, Montreal held them to 1 goal. Then again, it was in Montreal, but still, let me be optimistic.
I like
we've been super pessimistic this entire season. We've been very pessimistic this entire season. Let's just be a little optimistic for a change. Now that this team has given us a little bit of a reason to, even if it's false hope, and we don't know that yet. Okay, but let's kind of go into it. Let's look at the glass half full. That might sound weird coming from me, but I kind of want to do that for a change.
Feels good.
I'm gonna say all these teams are teams that Atlanta can win against. I don't think they're gonna sweep this 6-game away stretch by any means, but I think that there's always a chance going into these games that anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, you go back and look last year at the way that it played out, and some of this is indicative of the team not being good enough at home last year. But they were, I think it was 3 points, maybe 6 points. So essentially 1 or 2 wins better at home than they were on the road. They did somewhat break the stigma of just being an absolute dog crap away team to a degree. Now, I mean, you want a handful, and that's in MLS play. That's not including the playoffs, but they kind of got something figured out. Dyla made it very, very clear last night. Zilf said, Henry, if we win all 6 away games, you got to wax your legs. Yes, you do. 100%.
Do I do it for the Patreon tier?
Yes. Yes. But no, I mean, it's not, y'all know, I despise the MLS is a hard league to play away. I hate that freaking stat. And I know it's a stat. I know there's truth to it, but I hate it because it feels like a cop-out. I don't care where you play soccer in this league. I don't care if it's at the old Crew Stadium that had flooded bathrooms, or if it's in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, with a bunch of high school bleachers, or in the bins in the nicest stadium in the hemisphere, or wherever. I don't care. You're going to play the same game. You need to go, and if you're going to be a big club, big team, big energy, go play your game. So you've got momentum to go and do that. Everybody has counted Atlanta United out for this 6-game road trip. Everybody. We all know it's going to be difficult, but you now have something that you can hold on to and say, man, like we've shed that stupid monkey off our shoulder. Like, it was poking us, and if we finally got rid of it, go, and you've got to get some stuff out of this. You need to get, I would like to see bare minimum. I think if you were to go 2-2-2, I'm happy with that. 2-2-2 to me is fair. And Brett saying, yeah, 8 points out of these. So yeah, he literally said, okay.
Brett
I
agrees with
promise you I didn't see that comment. But I think that's fair. I don't think that's unreasonable.
Yeah, that seems like fair expectations given the opponents and given the difficulty of away games in this league. I might even be a little bold and say 11 points, throwing another win in there instead of a draw. Potentially against NYCFC because they've had their struggles at times. Also, what was the team? It might have been Chicago. Yeah, I think it was Chicago that went to Yankee Stadium. Was lead. Oh yeah, because it was the Brian Gutierrez red card. They were leading, and then they kind of lost control of it. And so I think I think you can go into that stadium and get 3 points, and I also think you could potentially get 3 points against DC and Toronto, but we'll see. I don't want to start counting the chickens before they hatch, but yeah, I think 2-2-2 would be very fair for that stretch.
Tyler wants it. Tyler said this is absolutely a focus. Like I said, he mentioned that there's so much more for this team to show, and he kind of described it as killer instinct. You now have you've broken out of that mold that you were in. You shed, like I said, the monkey. It can't die now. I mean, again, yeah, it's hard, but don't let it's an away match be a cop out. Go handle your business. And if you can do it on essentially 6 days, 3 matches in 6 days, like that's a statement. That is a massive statement, especially when out of the 7 goals that you scored in 2 games, only one of them came from a DP, if I'm not mistaken. It shows that
Yes,
you're getting danger from the players that you have spent pretty significant money on that aren't DPs. So you're getting a return there. Build the confidence, let it flow, and go show everybody what you said you were going to be at the beginning of the season.
Yep. I like that. So having said that, looking more in the short term to this Red Bulls game, let's go ahead and give our predictions. What do you think? How it's going to end?
2-1 Atlanta.
All right. First win
Yep.
Red Bull Arena. Sports Illustrated Stadium. Gosh. It just feels right that the Red Bulls play in Red Bull
makes
Arena.
sense. As if Red Bulls needs any more money from naming rights, but whatever.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say 2-1 Atlanta.
Feels good to be optimistic.
Yeah. It feels good to have a reason
I agree.
to be optimistic. The team it's showing fight. It's showing that it can play good soccer. It's the players are starting to click. You can kind of see it all coming together. So it's a fun time to be around. And, looking at this summer transfer window that's coming in less than 2 months at this point, the squad will only get better at that point. And you've got to think that, Chris Henderson and his team have been eyeing already some potential additions that can take this team up a level going into the final stretch of the season. So 3-1 to who, Daniel?
I think based on his last comment, he was implying Atlanta? Jamal's going to get a brace.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see the other one. 1-1, then 2-1, then 3-1 Jamal. I'll take it.
I mean, I'll take it all day. Give me a 3-1 win away. And I think Gray, so our staff predictions, which have been kind of fragmented considering it's a 3-game match week. Gray said 1-1. What Tommy said 1-1 as well, right?
I think so, yeah.
Or, yeah. Brett saying 2-2.
Yeah.
Connor said, I just want to be happy.
That's fair. It's all we want in life, isn't it?
Big Daddy said training face is going to be a Matador on Saturday.
Love it. Yeah, I think there's finally some optimism in the Atlanta United kind of social circles at this point. Kind of good vibes. It's weird because after this game, the team rests for like a week and a half. So we don't have that next game, the NYC game, until the 12th, and that's a Thursday. Why does this team play on a Thursday? That seems weird to me.
Freaking Club World Cup, man.
Stupid Club World Cup.
I guess building up to it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. Well. Oh, did I already say? I already said my prediction. Nobody else in the chat put theirs. So
Bruno 4-3 Atlanta. Final thoughts? Oh, you know what we haven't done really quick.
yeah. Shout out.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody, first of all. Quick shout out to Sweetwater Brew, which amazing partner of ours. If you guys, I don't know of anybody that lives in Atlanta that hasn't had Sweetwater, but if you haven't had Sweetwater, you need to go get you some. I really am thinking I'm going to do that like Patreon thing of starting 11 of Sweetwater beers. But no, just brilliant partner, Sweetwater Brewery. They've been around forever, for the longest time in Atlanta. So thank you to them. Go visit sweetwaterbrew.com. Go check out Rowdy Peach IPA, the OG 420, G13. They have so many different beers. The gummy beer, which is one of my personal favorite. They have a couple of them. So go check out sweetwaterbrew.com. Scarvesandspikes.com. We've got articles going up left and right. You got the twos playing games as well and looking pretty sharp. And we've got a lot of stuff going on with the academy. Gray is getting ready to put out some stuff for the younger guys. So scarvesandspikes.com. You can also subscribe on there as well, just to get articles sent straight to your email, which is great. And then y'all go join the Patreon, patreon.com/scarvesandspikes. Gets you extra content, gets you into our Discord, which is we've always got something we're talking about in there. We've got multiple channels, everything from obviously soccer to international soccer to basketball, American football. Daniel, if Atlanta wins by 2, I will absolutely chug a Sweetwater. You don't even twist my arm. I'll
shotgun
do
a Sweetwater.
You can pick which one you want me to chug. But yeah, y'all go join the Patreon. It's a good time. And again, lots of extra content. We got some stuff, and I'm not going to ruin the surprise, but Henry, me and you were kind of working on something with Manchester City, which will be really cool.
We're signing Erling Haaland.
Well, there's the surprise is ruined. Dang it. We're not signing.
No, but there's something really cool in the works there. So we'll go ahead and tease that.
Yeah, for sure. So, anyway, go join the Patreon. It's good stuff. And while you're on the website, by the way, on scarvesandspikes.com, click on the little shop icon. We got lots of merch. We've got shirts, hats, obviously, coffee mugs, which are great quality, by the way, beer glasses, hoodies, you name it. There's all kinds of stuff on there. So y'all go visit the shop. And other than that, let's go get a win on Saturday.
Yep. Happy Father's Day. Atlanta. Yeah.
That's wild, man. That's sneaking up too. Oh, yeah. And Spaces on Saturday.
Spaces on Saturday?
Spaces on Saturday. Colonel, I'm going to have to check. Sweetwater, I think at one point. It's a good question. I'll have to check. I will get back to you on that. All right, y'all.
All right.
Peace.
Should we play the outro? Yeah, there we go.
Hey, we're getting there.
It's okay. It's just since I heard the music and it went on a little bit longer than I was used to.
Yeah, you know.
You're good.
We get there when we can.
Absolutely. Happy thoughts, finally.
Win.
It's been raining the whole freaking day, man.
So crazy, dude. We had a legit tornado touchdown like right south of us. There's video. I think it's on like WSB. You'll see it. Came across I-75. They actually have like FEMA/GMA set up like with shelters for people because there was like neighborhoods that got destroyed down here. So prayers to those people. Anybody else that got stuck in the bad storm. I don't know what it is about this area down here this year, but I've had more tornado warnings in the past 2 months than I think I have in my entire life of living in Metro Atlanta.
For real. Like, I feel like
crazy.
this year, anytime there's like a storm, you're saying like, oh my gosh, there's tornadoes.
Yeah.
Y'all are
Oh.
like Tornado Valley of Georgia.
And they're all like coming right across the same spot. So everybody be safe.
Stay safe. Yeah, everyone stay safe, please.
We will see
All right.
you guys on Saturday.